Today we're going to be comparing 3 Insta360 cameras to help you decide which one you should buy. Do you know what the most difficult part of making this video has been? It's been trying to get this set up so you can see all 3 cameras in shot, and I'm sitting here terrified I'm going to knock them over and do a lot of damage to quite expensive cameras. Just in case you're not familiar with how a 360 camera works, it's a camera with 2 lenses either side that captures everything in both directions, 360 degrees. If you attach it to a long pole, which disappears in a blind spot between the 2 lenses, you can create all kinds of incredible shots that would otherwise be impossible or require a lot more equipment. Or even just set it on a tripod and animate the reframing for a panning shot without needing someone to move a camera. And you can then reframe and export that 360 video into a standard 16:9 video or vertical video, and you can do that with a smartphone app or a desktop app, which gives you the best quality. So this video is going to help you decide between these cameras, but as always, I'm going to focus on your actual needs rather than getting too in-depth into the specifications. What do you actually need this for? What kind of videos are you making? And that kind of stuff. So let's jump right in. We'll go through the cameras in order. So here we've got the Insta360 One RS. This is a modular action camera that comes with both a 360 camera module and a more standard action camera. So you kind of get in 2 in 1 here. It retails typically for around £500, but I have seen it on sale as low as £500. This is the Insta360 X3. It's Insta360's flagship consumer module designed for action sports, vlogging, pretty much anything you need a 360 camera for. It's got a pretty big screen on the front. It shoots slightly better video quality than the RS because it's got a larger sensor. And it's also slimmer, easier to use in general, and properly waterproof, unlike either of these other 2 cameras. And it costs around £450. Then we have this. This is the Insta360 One RS 1-inch edition, co-engineered with Leica. Bit of a mouthful, but this camera, you can see, is much bigger, and it has, you see it says there 1 inch. It's got 2 1-inch sensors in here either side, so it's got bigger pixels, bigger sensors, captures more light, more detail. This shoots the best quality video, but it costs £800, around about £800. All of these cameras give you the benefits of 360, which is a technology that allows you to get kinds of shots you just cannot get any other way. You can get really cool point of view shots, you can get really good like third-person shots. So just really cool little filmmaking tool, and I love 360 cameras, but of course there are differences. And I think we should start by addressing the Insta360 1-inch first, as it's the most expensive. It's nearly twice the price of these other 2 cameras. Now, as I said, this camera has got 2 1-inch sensors either side of the lens, and as a result of that, this one shoots the best footage of any of these. And for me, this is the go-to one I will be using for most kind of hiking adventures and anytime I want to get the best quality footage possible. Now, it shoots 6K video, and these other 2 shoot 5.7K video. Now, that difference is not significant, but what is significant is that the larger sensor can capture more image detail, more color detail. It's got a better dynamic range, and it just has a more natural filmic quality to the footage that you get out of this compared to these two. So if you're trying to match footage to like fancy mirrorless cameras, this matches in much better. And it also performs better in low light because, again, it's got a larger sensor and larger pixels. So this is really the go-to option for anyone who's trying to get the benefits of 360 but wants the best quality possible, and, you know, they've got the budget to splash out on this. Now, the downsides with this camera are that, first of all, it is quite a bit bulkier and quite a bit heavier than the other two. So, for example, I would not use this for my running videos. For that reason, it'd be quite heavy running while holding that on the end of the stick. It's also not fully waterproof. It's water resistant, so it'll survive a shower rain. It's not fully waterproof, unlike the X3. And if you're capturing action sports, its frame rate maxes out at 50 frames per second, shooting 3K, whereas both of these cameras will shoot 100 frames per second, capturing 3K. And finally, as I mentioned, the cost is twice the price. But if you want a 360 camera in a reasonably small package, shoot the best quality possible, this is probably the one you're going to want to go for. So let's dismiss it. You're dismissed. Okay, next camera then we're going to look at is the One RS. Now, this is the camera for those of you who are not very good at making decisions. This is the camera for those of you who can't decide whether you want a normal action camera or a 360 camera, because this camera is modular. You can see here it comes with a action camera module. And here, 4K action camera module. The action camera footage from this is decent quality, and it'll even shoot 6K widescreen footage, which is quite nice. But the trick of this comes with its modularity. So I can just push a button on there, bing bong, pop that, open that up, slide that, take that off, pull that off, lift up the 360 module, plug in the 360 module, and now it is a 360 camera. It shoots good quality 360 footage. It has a smaller sensor than the X3, so it's not just as good, but for £500, you're getting a 360 camera and an action camera all in one. So that's the big advantage of this camera. The downside of this camera is that it is a fair bit chunkier than the X3. So if you're trying to like fit it in a pocket, you might find it's a bit bulky. Unlike having two dedicated cameras, you know, a 360 camera and a separate action camera, if you want to switch between the two, you have to like take it to bits and reassemble it, which can be a bit of a hassle. And the other downside of this camera is that even though once it's assembled, it is splash proof. If you're out in wet conditions, you don't really want to be swapping the modules for the sake of keeping the electronics safe. Of course, if you did decide that you fancied the 1-inch after buying one of these, you can spend another £650 and buy that upgrade kit. But to be honest, if you're going to end up doing that, you're probably better buying the 1-inch to start with. So yeah, this is the option for somebody who wants both a decent 360 camera and a decent action camera, and you're on a bit of a budget because you're effectively getting both for about £400 to £500. Okay, and then we come to this, which is probably my most used of these cameras. And while it doesn't shoot just as good a quality video as the 1-inch, it's probably like my overall multi-purpose favorite, the Insta360 X3. This is their flagship model. This is the third version of the camera they became known for, and it's just a really, really good all-around 360 camera. Recently, they upgraded the sensors in this. They're now like half-inch sensors, which is bigger than the sensors in the One RS, so this will shoot better quality video. Another feature this has that you can shoot with a single lens. So this is using the Insta360 as if it's just a normal action camera. So you could make the argument this actually has all the benefits of the One RS in the one camera without having to swap modules. Although if you're using this in single lens mode, the quality isn't just as good as what you get from the action camera module for the One RS. This camera is fully waterproof. You can go completely submerged down to 10 meters with this camera. It's not going to get damaged. And this is the one I use if I'm out on a run. I know it's going to be pouring with rain all day. I just have the confidence that this is just going to go all day and not be bothered with the rain. And is also the thinnest of all of the cameras, and that's a nice advantage for me because it means It fits neatly into my wrist pack or into my pocket, whereas the other ones aren't just as pocketable. So yeah, the X3 is the one to buy if you're wanting to get into 360 and you just want a really decent 360 camera that will do everything and you're not willing to splash out for the 1-inch. And speaking of splashing, you want something that's fully waterproof, then the X3 is probably for you. The way I see this really is that most people should probably buy the X3, with the One RS being for people who really want two types of camera and they're on a bit of a budget, and then the 1-inch for people who want like really high-end quality, but you know, they've got twice the budget to spend on a camera. That is it. Hopefully this video helps you decide between these three cameras. I'd love to know which one you think would be the best for you. You can go and have a look at some of the other videos I've made over on my main channel, Stephen J. Reid. There's a brilliant video on there where I went out with the 1-inch for an entire day for a hike in really snowy conditions. Really shows it off well. There's loads of videos where I take the X3 on mountain running. And I've got a video on there as well showing how you can vlog all day with the One RS. So you can pop over there, have a look, hopefully find this useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye bye.